creator of our open mic here. We were going on for several years with a regular house about the size of this until George joined us. Now they're hanging from the rafters. We have to lock the door to keep the people out. And this is great for us. And so we added a second open mic night. And it's all because of George, in my opinion. George is director of the open mic events here at the venue and is a spoken word artist, as you will soon see. Much of his work addresses male and female relationships, both good and bad. Welcome, Jorge Mendez.
Yeah.
Can we hear it for everybody who's performed so far? So I started attending this group recently, Hopeless Romantics Anonymous. I've got a tendency of falling in love about as easily as I breathe. And I thought I was in love countless times in my life, but in hindsight I was probably on the right, well, 3 times. 3 times. And if anybody's ever seen A Bronx Tale, they say you only get 3 great loves in your life, so I guess I'm screwed. Which will explain all the poetry you're about here. Gender. Let's see, gender. I think men get a bad rap when it comes to relationships. And I think women tend to forget that men get broken hearts too. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't put myself in some of the situations that I have found myself in. I know you're no good for me, but I'm not afraid of you. I should be, but I'm not. I mean, you're a hurricane, and I've seen the trail of destruction you've left behind. The muddy pools of hollow tears, splintered shards of sweet nothings, and romances turned to rubble, but I'm not evacuating. You're all types of wrong for me. I walk a road less traveled, you the beaten path. You fly by the seat of your pants, I'm afraid of heights. You're a gale force wind, and I'm more like a paper fan on an Alabama porch. We're plaids and stripes, apples and oranges. We really don't belong together, but that's what they told H.B. Reese about chocolate and peanut butter. You've never truly loved anyone because you've never loved yourself, let alone allowed anyone to love you. You use the word, but I know that you don't know what it means, and anytime you have come close to a definition, you run and hide because somewhere in that twisted little thought process of yours, you feel you don't deserve it. Honestly, you're a train wreck. I want to crash with you. Your caress is sandpaper, but it smooths my rough edges. Your embrace, a barbed wire anaconda. Your voice is honeysuckle cyanide. Lips laced with venom, but you keep the antidote on your tongue, so... What am I to do? I'm probably going to regret you. I know you're going to break my heart. But when we make love, it's like a bonfire of vanity. 2 opposing realities in an epic battle for supremacy. Starships colliding in a glorious cosmic catastrophe. It is a cataclysm of climax, a clash of 2 titans hell-bent on devastating one another. You'll probably destroy me. You'll most likely drain me slow like the battery of a car left idle too long. You'll take me for everything I have, mind, body, and soul, and when you're done, you'll leave nothing but a discarded carcass, a hollow shell of a man. I've seen you do it before. You'll be the death of me. And by the time you're done, you'll make eternity look inviting. Some would say I'm crazy, that I have some sort of emotional death wish, that I'm a glutton for punishment, and maybe they're right. I really should just run from you now and avoid any collateral damage. Instead, I'm barreling blindly down the track, anticipating the derailment. I know you're no good for me, but I'm not afraid of you. I should be. I'm just not. So that's why I started attending those meetings. Alcoholics like to call it the moment of clarity. I don't know what you would call it. I guess I haven't gotten my moment of clarity. Because there's this girl. At least, I think she's a girl. I'm honestly not quite sure she's even human, because now that I think about it, I don't remember ever seeing her feet touch the ground. There's this cushion of air that exists somewhere between the earth and the soles of her feet. She doesn't walk, she hovers. I'm sure of it. This girl has sonnets in her smile, limericks in her laughter, moves quick like haiku with soliloquies in her footsteps. She lives her life in free verse. She is a masterpiece if I ever knew one. No canvas worthy of her image. I keep her paintings hanging from the insides of my eyelids. This girl has the curves of a handcrafted mandolin, and I'd strum her till she produced the perfect song and cried out the sweetest melody. My God, this girl is a walking wet dream I have while wide awake. This girl is in my thoughts like breathing is. Natural, subconscious, continuous. And this girl has no idea that I exist. So what do you do when you're in that situation? What do you do when there's this girl? And I'll tell you what I used to do. I used to keep my mouth shut. And if I could go back in time to like 1994, I would tell myself, go to that damn spring dance in school and ask Michelle to dance with you. Do it. So that was a lesson that took me a long time to learn. So I finally approached her. I said, I am absolutely, positively, 100% head over heels in like with you. I like you like crazy. You are the like of my life, and life is like a box of chocolates, so never know what we might get. I like you like a Facebook status. I'm giving you a thumbs up. Get it, baby? Facebook status, thumbs up. Hell, I like you like Valley girls like to say like, and I mean that's like awesome. I like you a whole lot of bunches of oodles and oodles of tons. I like you so much that liking you made me share my chocolate milk with you. And if you know me like I know that you know me, then you know I don't share my chocolate milk with anybody. So that shit's like serious. I like you the way the sun likes to warm the beach, the way stars like to decorate the sky, the way the moon likes to tug on the ocean. But you're much too sweet and pretty to be anything like the cold pale moon, so I like to think that if you were a heavenly body, instead of just having a heavenly body, then you would be a red star going supernova, a billion light years away, casting cosmic fairy dust into my atmosphere as I fall into your orbit. What I'm saying is, I'd like to revolve around you. I'd like to fall into you like you were a swimming pool full of all the things I like the most. I like you like waves, like boats, like Eskimos, like coats. I like you like I like hot butter on my breakfast toast. Good morning. You're what I'd like to wake up to. I'd like to be the man in your life, and I'd like to build a life together. And maybe, just maybe, I like you a little bit too much, but maybe, just maybe, that's okay this time. And maybe all this like is beginning to like tiptoes into the arenas of love, but honestly, I'd like that too. Thank you. After all that, she says, you should write a poem about me. And when she said you should write a poem about me, she might as well have commanded me to enter her confessional, drop hard to my knees, and begin disclosing all the secrets I've been keeping precariously on the tip of my tongue, unaware that that poem had began writing itself on the inside of a castle wall the moment I first heard her speak. So what I wrote her was, okay, well, when I met you, it wasn't like I met you. It was more like I remembered. The delicate harmonies of your voice and subtle cadence of your speech transported me to a long-lost, distant world. Memory, to a long-lost, distant memory, perhaps even from a previous life of someone that I loved already. You reminded me of things I didn't know I had forgotten. Things that up until this moment I would have sworn were impossible, but you've got me questioning everything. Everything. And I'm learning that under the right conditions, I can fly. I can move through walls. I can push my pen across the surface of the page with my mind and write things that I hope amuse my muse. Things like, you're every color's favorite hue. You're an autumn mountain's view. You're a crossword puzzle clue, a wind chime's favorite tune. You're like a brand new pair of shoes. I mean, I want to walk with you. I want to write poems on every mirror in your house so when you look into them, you see what I see. I want to tap your sense of humor so I can get drunk on your silly. Let me be the goblet that you pour yourself into. It is not enough to exist as a part of your life. I need to participate in your existence because every morning I wake up with your song on my lips and your name on my pillowcase. You're in the fibers of every muscle I stretch. My arms extended, reaching out for you. You're my first sip of coffee. You make me alert. My mind's breakfast, nourishment for good mornings, and I can't think of any better way to start my day. Last night, I had a dream that I was chasing you through the empty hallways of an old hotel, listening for your giggles around corners as I navigated the corridors, following the trails of love letters that fell out of your pocket, and when I caught you, you handed me a notebook of blank pages and ran off again, leaving me counting backwards from 10, singing "Catch Me If You Can." So I set my snares and baited my hooks within its pages, poetry poised, ready to pounce on you, but words just don't seem worthy of you these days. So I leave treasures mounted to walls that only you would think to hunt for. Only you could know their value, verbal trinkets for you to add to your collection, vintage memories we haven't yet created, and somehow the shoebox that we keep them in is already overflowing. It's taking both of us to force the lid down, and even that's barely working. Every phone call is another love note on a napkin. Every message is a ticket stub for a movie we haven't seen. Every spoken word falls perfectly into place, building something we have no definition for. Something so beautiful neither of us understand it, but like a flower that blooms in the shade, though the odds are against us, we flourish. Our roots grow stronger, longer, uprooting the cobblestones of the paths we once walked together. Yes, the paths we once walked together. This isn't the first time that I've loved you. It just can't be. I told you. I remember. Vividly. So that poem did the trick. And it worked. And we dated. And it was good. Until the end. I loved you like a fairy tale. I, your Prince Valiant, released you from your tower of discontent. I washed away your witches, defeated all your dragons. I gobbled up your goblins. You said I was your hero. Took you by your hand and led you safely through the wilderness of your apprehensions, beyond the violent rivers of your past, and kept you fed on a balanced diet of positive affirmation and affection until you were strong enough to fend for yourself. But little did I know that once you got your bearings, you'd run off seeking adventures. The last I remember, your last adventure got you locked away in a tower. But you said you needed time, so I surrendered my calendar and arm wrestled the hands of every clock I could find. You said you needed space, so I sent you on an all-expense-paid tour of the galaxy, but even on a road trip through the cosmos, you complained about the potholes. You never were satisfied. And I knew this. Even so, I carried a slow-burning lantern along the rings of Saturn, dripping beads of wax, hoping to create a constellation you'd be happy with. I treated you like you were my most current breath, so much more precious than my last, with the knowledge that each breath could be my last. I cherished you. I kept you exalted, catching crooks in my neck every time I tried to peek at you perched so perfectly on that pedestal I placed you on, so blinded by the glare that I didn't even notice when you fell, and still caught you just in time to no longer recognize what I was saving. I should have let you hit the ground. I should have let you hurt yourself. In the end, we both would have been better off. Because you sailed off into the Tangerine Sunset, eager to explore what you might be missing. I stood on the banks of the river Disappointment, watching you shrink slowly into the horizon as you set course toward your theoretical bold new life without a care in the world, but Her Majesty's ship left quite awake. You left me with an unorganized pile of unanswered questions, illegibly sprawled across soiled napkins, scraps of paper, and bubblegum wrappers. You left so abruptly that your perfume hung in the air and your footprints remained in my carpet for days. You left a steamy handprint on my bathroom mirror, the impression of your head on my pillowcase, your goodbye in my ear, and this infernal stack of questions in my hands. While you spread your wings, mine were clipped, rendering me flightless in a clumsy, tumbling freefall. You left me sleeping on your side of the bed just to make it feel less empty. Our picture, still in its frame, a reminder of what you chose to sail away from. You left me with my heart in my hands, my love on display, and my proposal on my lips. You left me alone. Just clutching this chaotic stack of questions, struggling to keep it together as it wrestled with the very wind that filled your sails. 2 arms, frail from the lack of your embrace, hopelessly holding them against the hollow of my chest until one violent gust ripped them from my grip, sending them swirling all around me, and it was enough to make me contemplate the existence of serenity on the edge of a razor blade. Congratulations. You almost broke me. You've certainly come closer than anyone has before, so my hat's off to you. But how dare you tie the laces on the shoes that carried you back to my doorstep? How did your fingers not break under the pressure of pressing my doorbell? How did your face remain intact when you parted your lips to speak to me? Did you really think I'd meet you at the dock? How did you expect to find my arms in any other position than folded defensively across my chest? How dare you? I've heard whispers of your misadventures on the other side of the fence. I see the stains those greener pastures left upon your reeds. Your X marks the spot. Well, I'm not sure what you're looking for now, and I'm not sure you are either. I don't know what you expected to find here, but clearly it is not what you left behind. Because I stood on that riverbank, anxiously awaiting your return, watching the tides rise and fall in unison with my broken breaths, until I sank shin deep into its muddy sediment, holding this unorganized pile of unanswered questions that I just don't have anymore. Thank you.
Yeah.